Just lost your breath. The vision of darkness, a weapon of evil. Less than a man, not quite a machine. The ultimate warrior. The master plan and a madman scheme. All God was a mass destruction. Created in my mind and will. All God was a mass destruction. Designed to maim and kill. How much longer must I wait? The poison is burning my throat. How many battles must be fought before I reach the antidote? DNA's on the set, you just lost your breath. The vision of darkness, a weapon of evil. Less than a man, not quite a machine. The ultimate warrior. The master plan and a madman scheme. Can it be real or is it all just a dream?
Hello everyone and welcome to Dark Native Apostle, a game developed by Hudson Soft and heavily inspired by Bomberman. You might be thinking, no, what are you talking about? But here, I'll show you. Our main attack is pressing the square button to drop bombs down. They can hurt our enemies and us. They're on a slight delay, obviously, so we can get away in time. We even have crates that we can blow up, which I'll get to after this last security guard. Over here are some crates we can blow up. No power-ups inside them, unfortunately. But it's a cute nod to, you know, an actual Bomberman game. Don't let these explosions confuse you, though. This game is definitely its own thing in a lot of ways. It's just the inspiration from Hudson Soft's other work is very clear. When we come into this room, we'll be met with even more security guards. The best strategy is to run away from them and plant a bomb while you're on your way away. They'll follow you because they're too stupid to see the bomb, and they'll run into it. The second method is to run up right beside them and plant a bomb, and they'll be incapable of movement for a little bit because they'll have to turn back around to chase you. That one doesn't work as often, but it's still just as fun. The guards can also platform theoretically like you can, but as you saw a bit ago, they have some trouble. And that's it for the intro stage. Don't worry, the stages get way bigger.
You're the last worthless damn specimen. Quit giving me trouble. Well, it's one way to get a workout. You're dead, 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 dead.
Hello and welcome to the first boss. He's not the real first boss though, because you're meant to lose this fight and you can't win it no matter how well you do. There are lasers at the sides that home in on you, and he himself also fires some homing projectiles. It's a hard boss, but that's not to say that we won't encounter harder things later, just maybe not harder things on the action front so much as the thinking front. Either way, whoever we are and whatever our motivation is, this guy's gonna kick our ass no matter what we do.
It doesn't make sense. No matter what I do against him, nothing works.
Dumb test specimen. So that's the best you can do, huh? Piece of junk.
Where am I? Who am I? I gotta get out of here. What? My head. Of course, I am human no more. I'll be damned if I let that bunch of good-for-nothings get the better of me.
And welcome to the real gameplay. These strange green creatures only take one hit from our bomb. They spit out this red goop that chases us around. But after a short period, it loses its direction and just floats off wherever, as you're about to see. Yeah, there it goes. There's some items lying around for us to pick up like this HP recovery. We can also sneak up behind enemies when they're not looking at us to kill them much easier. Though these green monsters are the easiest enemies in the game, so... We just got the stone, which is the most useless item in the game, and we got the creature study, which will be important. First, let's equip those stones that we don't need. You'll see what they do shortly, or rather what they don't do. And then let's look at that creature study. There isn't one of these for every creature, so don't get excited. It's something special and story related. Test salamanders that are weak to light. Number of incidents 3. So they're not very common, it seems, but that doesn't mean we'll never run into one. There's a map right here so we can see the layout of the entire level, or most of it at least. Yeah, that looks about right. We're gonna head to the right first, because there's something down here we really want. Even if we do have to go through some sewage to get it, but what do we care? We woke up in a sewer. Down here are some alligators that can only hurt us if we get close. They can swipe their tails at us or chomp at us, so, you know, just don't get close. We got the power chip, which if you remember the tutorial, we can equip. So let's do that. It makes our bombs slightly stronger. Now, it's my responsibility to tell you right off the bat, don't expect this to be a no-hit, destroy every enemy in the most efficient way possible run of the game, because this is not an action game, in spite of what you may be thinking. This is a puzzle game, this is a thinking game, and the action really anybody could do. But the sheer patience and determination the game asks of you later, that's not for everyone. That doesn't mean it's not for us, though. That looks dangerous. I bet if we step in front of that, we'll get knocked over. And back down into that sewer that we were just in. So let's not do that. We're gonna go see what's up here instead. We picked up another stone, which I really didn't want. These bats, whenever they see us, stop to shoot some sonic waves at us. Whenever that happens, just move around the box. And start pushing it from a different side until the bat's done. If you do this, you'll slowly but surely make your way to the hole, where we can then jump up onto the box and into the hole itself. The more astute observers might have noticed that there's another hole over to our right, and that's why there's a second crate. We'll get to that one later. You may think we could throw the stones at these bats to get them out of our way, but that doesn't work. The stone doesn't do anything. But just in case you really wanted to know, yeah, it's useless. Here's a new enemy type. These blobs can latch onto us. The blue blobs drain our health slowly, and the orange blobs drain our EP slowly. If you remember the tutorial, our EP is what determines how many bombs we can plant. There's a big exclamation point that appears above the blobs' heads before they attack us, so you can't say they don't telegraph their moves. They take 2 hits from us, which most of the enemies for a long while are going to take 2 hits from our bombs, but that's okay, that's not a big deal. We can turn the camera, which is very useful for rooms like this, where there's a lot of stuff to see. We just got the biochip files, which details one of the more interesting mechanics in the game. Let's take a look at it. It tells us that if we place the biochips in a certain order, we get certain special abilities that we can use with the circle button. For the dash, we need an EP chip, a power chip, and a speed chip. Well, right up here is the speed chip. And we already have a power chip, so we're just missing an EP chip. Let's go ahead and equip that one. Another reminder that this game was made by Hudson Soft, and it has Bomberman mechanics in it. Alright, let's make sure we equip the chips in the proper order. The EP chip needs to go in the first slot, so we'll keep that one open. Hey look, an elevator out of here. Well, you bet it'll work when we press the button. Let's give that a try. Ah, no. It's not working. Looks like there's a hatch open behind us. Some asshole removed the battery. That would explain it. So we need to find the battery to turn on the elevator to get out of here. Seems simple enough. We also need that EP chip, though. And if we turn the camera, we get a much better view of that second hole from earlier. Now let's push that other crate over there and see what's in this one. This game is really, really heavy on exploration, so if that's not your thing, then you're not going to like this game very much. Some of the puzzles and environments later in the game put our Resident Evil to shame. And I'm not saying that to be funny. We should try and find a clear spot to jump where the bats aren't. There we go. We can see through that sewer grate there's another chip over there, but here's one we can actually reach. It's the EP chip. So after we put that one in the first slot, we should get the dash ability, right? That's what the notes said. After we close it out, if our character has a light bulb above his head, then that means yes. Yes, we did do it properly, so now we can dash. And I think I know exactly what to use the dash on, if I can get up these stairs. If we time it just right, we should be able to dash straight through these fans into the other side. Alright, let's give it a go. Okay, that was not just right. Usually the biggest penalty in this game is having to walk back to some other place. It's actually kind of hard to die unless you go prolonged periods without healing yourself. Alright, this time the dash worked, and there's another blob down here, but we don't really need to worry about it too much. They move rather slowly. Now somewhere over to the left, probably this next room to our left, should be that other chip we saw through the sewer grate. There it is. Let's use our dash to reach it. If we press circle right as we reach the bottom of the jump, stop trying to throw stones at the bat. There we go. You do have to press circle as soon as you land, otherwise it won't work. We got the range chip, which predictably increases the range of our blasts. So it's very useful to take out enemies like these alligators down here, which can only hurt us if we get super close. Unfortunately, I had a hard time understanding how close was super close, but I eventually get the hang of it. We don't take very much damage from these alligators either way, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. We haven't met a save point yet, though, and save points are also where we heal ourselves, so we should be careful. Alright, and I do believe there was another room right across from this one, so we should go check that out as well. I mean, it's the only way we can go right now, really, so... Another blob. It's alone. It's no harm to us. And it looks like there's a barricade blocking our way forward, and this is one of the few times where blowing it up is the solution. First, so let's equip some more stones, because we don't have enough of those yet, and a lot of enemies drop them. At least here they do. Alright, now we can proceed forward. Most of the obstacles in this game are not overcome that simply. We can also blow up these rats that are scurrying everywhere, but there's no reason to. Hey, this looks like a boss arena if I've ever seen one, but there's no boss in it. Oh, that's not the triangle button. Looks like it hasn't been used in a while. Well, then there's probably not going to be a boss fight in here or anything like that. Right next to us is our very first save room after we get more stones that we don't need. We really don't need these. They don't do anything. This is our first save room, and it also heals us if we stand still. Kind of like one of the Castlevania games, but I can't remember which. Let's save our data, just to show you what that is. You might have noticed the graphic novel-styled menu, and I think that's pretty sweet. Back to exploring. There's another blue blob in here. And there's an orange blob just past it. Neither of them are, intimidating. Upcoming, we're going to see the meat of DNA's gameplay, and that may turn a lot of people off, but this game is so unapologetic in its design, and it's so eager about it, that I can't help but love it, you know? It doesn't even do anything wrong, it's just odd. We got some EP recovery, which is almost useless because that recovers itself. I think we get to see the really trippy loading screen here. Yep, there it is. In this room there are a ton of switches. And these switches, of course, open doors. And we have no idea where the hell we're going, so we're gonna press all of them, because that's what you do when you don't know which door you need. You just press all of them. First, let's look at the map. We can see how far we've come. And we can see the rest of the rooms that we can get access to by pressing those buttons. So let's get right on that. This one doesn't seem to work. We can press it, but it does nothing. That one works at least. What about the last one? Nope, can't switch it on, there's no power. There was power to the red one, but it just wasn't working. Maybe it's busted. Either way, this is the only door we can use right now, so there's no point in being fussy about it. I like the hum of the generator in this room. As someone who's heard a lot of generator hums, I can tell you it's very realistic. There's a brown door in here, but I didn't see a switch for a brown door. In case you didn't get what I was talking about earlier, most of this game is finding ways to unlock doors. Now, depending on how that's handled, you can either love or hate it, but a lot of people hate it regardless. Personally, I have had more fun unlocking doors in this game than I have had punching things in other games. And if you know me, that's saying way too much. I don't mean punching things in every video game, but in some games. This game is more fun than some beat-em-ups. That's a pretty heavy statement. I am right now meticulously attacking every enemy. I won't be doing this in the future. I'm just doing it right now to show you what it's like. So if the bombing gameplay doesn't look very fun, that's okay, because that's not what you're going to be doing most of the time. It's just a way to get around enemies in case you can't physically go around them. This episode may be significantly longer as a result of me trying to bomb everything. The enemies do go away after you blow them up, but they come back after you get a certain number of rooms away. For example, if we go back to the first part of the sewer where the first map was, those enemies would be back now. There isn't much to talk about in this room, just a bat and another blob, but there is also a door. I'm sad you guys can't hear this sweet elevator music very well, but, you know, you need to be able to hear me talking. I would have turned the music up if there were a way to do so. This is another save point, but there's also a very, very important item over here. The sewer memo. Let's see what that's about, why don't we? Ah, the switch to the red door needs pressed multiple times due to a loose connection. I kinda laughed when I first read that because it's so realistic. Things like that happen in actual businesses all the time. That isn't the last time we'll find a memo that helps us out with something we may have been stuck on. But it is a brief taste of what's to come. So let's go back over to the red switch after we blow up this blob. Because like I said, I am obsessively blowing up all the enemies for you. Now I've never counted, but I'm pretty sure the game randomly decides how many times you need to press the red switch between 1 and 5. Sorry, 2 and 5. Because we press it a whole 5 times here. And on the... Wow, wait, the 6th press, it finally works. Alright, it's time to go see what's behind that red door that has given us so much trouble. And by so much trouble, I mean like a minute's worth of trouble. That guy can be hard to take out without blowing yourself up. Thankfully, he doesn't see you very well. The red blobs can shoot acid at us as a projectile, but it's very slow-moving and very inaccurate. These stones are so useless. Do not forget that we are still on the quest for a battery. That elevator seems to be the only way out of here, so if we can't find a battery, we're kinda screwed. I want to pick this up, but our hands are full. They're full of those useless stones that I keep throwing around everywhere. Let's just get rid of them. They're not very important. Well, that wasn't important either, but it's fine, it's fine. Oh hell yes, we got the flamethrower, which I promise you is nowhere near as interesting as it sounds. The breaker is off. Alright, now we can press that last switch. Now we can press the switch to that yellow door that's back a few rooms. If we turn the camera slightly, we'll be able to see it in here. There it is over there. So now we can enter the yellow door, but there's still no switch for that brown door we found. The yellow door leads us to one of the most difficult hazards in the level, not in this room, though. In this room, there's just a blob, a bat, and an alligator. The blob and the alligator together are slightly more difficult than they would be separately. But fighting them is completely optional. I do want to say that the rest of the stages are more interesting than this one. And they are more interesting, at least to me. But the whole game is a puzzle game, so don't be mistaken about that. I do once again seem to be the first person Let's Playing this video game, and actually playing through it at all. Doesn't seem like anybody else has, not that I can find at least. And I assume that's because of the difficulty later. Here's that difficult hazard I was talking about. This fan blows on us and stops us from moving upward. And there's a blob in that vent, which is, well, the way forward. Can't really do anything about it until the fan stops, but if the fan stops, we don't want to get attacked by the blob. So you'd think it would make sense to try and blow it up, but then the blob moves into the hallway with us, and if we say, try to lay a bomb in the hallway, the bomb comes back when the fan blows. So what are we supposed to do? Well, I think the answer is kind of obvious myself. We haven't used the dash in a very long time. Now we need to dash across this first gap, and then jump over the boxes in the second gap. Pretty simple. Hey look, looks like a... oh dear. To get a blob off of us, we have to blow ourselves up. That's just how it works. Anyway, as I was saying, this looks like a switch to, yep, that brown door. So let's head back to the green door, I think it was, and take a look at the brown one. I have no way to know if this is boring to anyone else. So if it is, I'm terribly sorry. But this is very entertaining to me. I'm having a good time. I unironically love this game. In here is the blue switch, which I believe is the final one. And I think in the blue room, we finally get what we need to get out of here. At least I hope we do, because that's the last unchecked room. So it may have gone without saying what they were going for with this game, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Oh, we got the battery, but we also got another biochip file. We'll mess with that while I explain. It may have gone without saying what they were going for here. Bomberman is a thing where you blow up enemies in mazes. Do you see any parallels to what's happening here? The maze aspect has been greatly expanded on. So if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's like a giant escape the room. Like the biggest escape the room ever. Alright, let's see what we need to do to get those light bombs. And the EP chip can go in the last slot, even though we don't need it. It won't mess anything up there. And we get the light bulb above our head, which means we've done it correctly. This whole sewer level is just a tutorial. It really, really ramps up the difficulty for the next stage, which I am so excited to show you, because it's kind of brain-busting. But yeah, we have the battery now, so let's save before we go any further. And then let's head back to the elevator room so we can get out of here. Alright, save complete. But before we go onward, there's something I want to show you. That flamethrower, I'm sure you've been wondering. Does it melt the blobs? And the answer is no, it does not. It doesn't. Oh no, our premonitions about this being a boss room were true. So this is that salamander that we learned about back in those creature files we picked up in the very first room. It is weak to light, absolutely can't stand it, so we're going to use our light bombs to blind it, and then bomb it in the butt. It can only successfully be bombed in the butt. If you try to bomb it from the front, it won't do anything. Likewise, you can't hurt it until it's blinded. You have to hit it a total of 6 times before it goes down. It has 2 attacks. It can spit acid, which will poison you and give you a poison status effect. Or it can chase you around and just hit you with its body. Neither of them are too menacing, and unless you try to attack it without using the light bomb first, then you should be able to make it through this fight without issue. The fights in this game themselves also tend to be puzzles, just like the actual levels. This is one of the easier puzzles the game offers, but they do get a little bit more special. As has already been said 3 times, if you were expecting an action game, this is not for you. But I definitely think it deserved sharing because it's special, at least to me.